So we got a major casino property on the Las Vegas Strip that is going private, selling itself out to the corporate Wall Street entities that own the entire city. We also have another Vegas property that said if you're poor, you shouldn't come here. The markets are pumping. Trump's stimulus is on its way, but it probably isn't. And we also have no idea what the labor market's doing. Hopefully you guys are benefiting from all this. My name is Steven. It's NLLV. News update, let's go. So first up, we got to talk about our Vegas lead-in story. That would be the corporatization of Vegas will never end because money, 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 money. Golden Gaming, one of the darlings of Wall Street for the longest time, they're like, yeah, we don't care to be a public company anymore. Let's just sell out to Vici Properties, a company who we've been talking about for a while. In a $1.1 something billion deal, the company is no longer public. You can get in on it, but you got to go through Vici Properties, which means you probably go through Vanguard or one of these other financial investing companies, and then you hope and pray that the company that owns the stuff across the street can pay their bills, because in October alone, Vici Properties actually lost $3 billion off of their balance sheet because Caesars, that owns all that, there's rumors they might not be able to pay their bills. But that's another story for another day. What does this mean for you? It means rents are going to go up at the Stratosphere eventually, but at least the Stratosphere is in a better position now. Because I'm not sure, I'd have to look at the stats, but I think the Stratosphere had some like astronomically bad stats over the summer. The city got just hammered, and I think midweek their occupancy dipped as low as the 50s. So like they needed a lifeline, right? Stratosphere, one of the last real properties on the Strip where you can get some cheap table odds and some cheap food, and you can go up to the top and do death-defying things on the top of the tower. You know how it is. It's a giant observation tower. So Stratosphere, still around, but it's, I see changes coming. If it's like any other property out here, expect things to get more expensive over the years at the Stratosphere. It was nice knowing we had a nice company behind it. Now it's just Wall Street. But speaking of Wall Street, what about your Trump bucks? You gonna get your stimmies? You want your stimulus money? Do you like inflation? That's the actual question. Yeah, Trump apparently wants to take all that tariff money and pay you guys. And the Trump stimulus will probably never happen. And if it does happen, you guys can prepare for a lot of inflation, which is coming anyways. We'll tell you why that's going to happen in a minute. But here's the deal. The 3 COVID stimuluses, they created this much money pumped it into the economy. I think it's close to $1 trillion. I'll put it on the screen. This stimulus, if it's done and the top 10% don't get it, because Trump is promising it won't be the rich people, that means $670 billion at least would be pumped into the economy. Combine that with quantitative easing, you'll have the market doing what it did today. Yeah, so the market's just pumped like crazy this morning. This was my trade this morning, $500. I think this took 20 seconds or something like that because I knew what to look for. Quantitative easing is what Jerome Powell said, and we already reported on this here. That's when the government just starts printing money. So at first they say, well, the labor market sucks and we can't fix it, so let's lower interest rates. That might spur companies to hire people. Stage 2 is where they say, all right, well, we burned through some of the money supply in the economy. Let's just print some more money and give it to those businesses. Maybe that'll help them hire some people. Meanwhile, layoffs. Holy cow. In October alone, we had 150,000 layoffs across the country. You expect these companies to take free money and just pump it into their business and rehire all these people? I don't know if they're ever going to hire those people back, or if they're just going to take their money so the market does this. Because if the market does this or this, if it goes up or down, you guys can make some money on this stuff. Did you know you can do that? When the market goes down, how do you capitalize? I don't know. And by the way, about that Trump stimulus, don't get too excited. Congress couldn't vote to reopen the government for y'all. They didn't care about your food stamp situation. They didn't give a damn about the federal employees, it seems, for almost 6 weeks. You really think they're going to back a Donald Trump stimulus to make him look good? The answer is no, Biff. Oh, and the fun part is nobody has any idea what the labor market's doing. Why? Because the government's been shut down. Instead, people are taking it to different sources of information. Bank of America put out a thing. So look at the chart from Bank of America. What does it show you? See that line? That line is you. You maybe made 1% more than last year. The other chart is the people that have 401ks, investments in the markets. They made 3.7% more than they did last year. So you got to do something different. They're doing something different. And that's because they're invested in the companies that are laying people off. That's because they're invested in the companies that are getting the cheap money with the low interest rates. I got to wonder if those people those people who have their financial house straight, are they worried about Thanksgiving? Trump said last week Thanksgiving was cheaper. I don't know a single person that thinks anything is cheaper right now. Everything is kind of going up. The inflation is coming, folks. The struggle is real. And meanwhile, I'm over here every day and I'm like, okay, I'll get up today, click button. I said, it's going to go up. It went up 30 seconds later, sped up here, make some money. And then it was like, okay, Friday it went down. 30 seconds later, made some money. I got a student in my course that's ready to do that too. He's got this much in his account. He's on to where he can actually make some withdrawals here. If you guys want to actually do something about it, then go ahead, click on the link below in the first comment, 1K DIY, type in the code 21. Be one of the first few that gets it for 90% off, owns it for life. I got to put the price up soon. That's why I want you to get on it now. Or you can have the other option. Option B is that you do a Trump dance. How does the Trump dance go? Or is that like Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? I don't even remember. I'm a white guy. I can't dance. Just don't have no rhythm. I have a lot of soul. Well, because it's not going to get any better. Housing is also in a mess. Everybody thought the interest rates were going to go down. They didn't go down. So now we're going to have another round of inflation, which could push those up. So everything is just hitting this fever tipping point. And these are like recession type numbers that nobody should be in. Yeah, the cost of a 30-year fixed rate mortgage right now stuck at like 6.1, 6.3. The new thing that they're proposing is a 50-year mortgage, which anti-Trump people with the real deep Trump derangement syndrome are like, that's a terrible idea because then you're just a renter your whole life. And as somebody who's a renter, let me tell you why that's not the case. What everybody's forgetting about this Trump idea that he floated of 50-year mortgages and some banks backed up that are going to happen is that just because the term is 50 years, it doesn't mean that you have to pay it off over the course of 50 years. But just consider the life of a renter where the homeowner wants to sell the house, or the homeowner wants to raise the rents, or the homeowner tragically dies. Renters have no ownership. They can't, knock out a wall and build something new. They can't decorate their house the way they want to, and they can't, do a lot of things. And they're always at the mercy of the homeowner. So the 50-year mortgage idea that's being floated right now might be good for some people, might be bad for others. How many people actually stay in a 30-year mortgage for 30 years in the same property versus watching that asset increase over 10 years, selling it, buying towards something better, taking advantage of those are the 1031 or 1039, no, 1099, no, there's some kind of tax exchange. Tell me in the comments below, because I am not super smart, just a guy at the Bellagio with a camera. You're going to take advantage of those things. And so this is an opportunity to get more people into the housing market, I suppose. Because the writing's on the wall. Like, the economy is for the AAA economy. That's AI, affluent, or people who own assets. If you don't have assets, you don't have much right now. That's a report that comes out that says those are the best people that are doing the best. Remember that chart I showed you from Bank of America? We'll stick it up right here again. That's the AI crowd, the affluent crowd, or the assets crowd that have gone up 3-some odd %, whereas most of us have hung in there at 1% versus last year. Yeah, because you don't want to be that group that only grew 1%. You want to be the group that grew 4% or better, and you can do that with the 90% off of my course, which you could find link below, code 21 in the comments, if you can be fast enough to get in on the deal. It always sells out. But see, if you weren't living in a hole and you're watching this video, you probably saw there was like an $800 billion tech sell-off for AI stuff last week. So maybe that's not a place to be. Yeah, those markets crashed hard. If you watched our channel, you're subscribed, you would have seen OpenAI's CFO even intimated that they would take government bailouts, which thankfully nobody wants to see happen in the government, but you never know. At the same time, maybe that AAA crowd will just be the AA crowd, which is ironic because people who are in the tech industry in AI might have to go to AA if they hit the bottle hard after getting their companies wiped out and liquidated by the artificial intelligence bubble. And like we said before, this is all because we transitioned ourselves, not in that way, but we transitioned our economy towards like a code economy. Everything is a service now. We're no longer building stuff. Yeah, manufacturing indexes are below 50, and anything below 50 generally points to recession territory. And it's really simple, right? When people don't have money and they don't have jobs, they don't buy stuff. That's the first step. Step 2, when people don't buy stuff, manufacturers don't make stuff. Step 3 is when manufacturers don't make stuff, they lay people off. Step 4 is they lay people off. Nobody has any money, and the circle of life is complete. So maybe AI is hitting a bubble. I thought it was supposed to change our lives forever. And we're getting slop videos that show Albert Einstein in an MMA boxing ring. It's boxing? MMA is not boxing, dummy. So, shucks, I was doing so good on the video. Throw me a subscription. And so when people don't have that level of wealth, they don't come to Vegas, or they complain about it loudly. Which may be the reason why a Wynn executive recently said in an earnings call that if you don't have money, you just don't have to come to the Wynn. Yep, on an earnings call, Wynn CEO Craig Billings, he said, Wynn is not necessarily built for those visiting Las Vegas on a tight budget. He said, our customer isn't the customer who focuses on the cost alone. They're the type of customer who is unrelenting when it comes to value for their dollar, and they provided. He also went on to say that their minibar is actually less money at the Wynn than other competitors in that kind of five-star service realm in Vegas, and that they only wanted to charge for parking when they realized they were being, quote, the neighborhood parking lot. I mean, I get that. Actually, Wynn is in a bad spot. It's right next to a little strip mall with all sorts of cheesy little gift shops. I get it, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't walk through the Wynn and demand satisfaction. And with that news update, it's abundantly clear. You're either part of the AAA crowd, soon to be the AA crowd, the AA crowd, the affluent and the holding assets, or you're not welcome to come to the Wynn. Well, you're welcome to come to the Wynn, but just don't you dare complain about prices. And if you're waiting for your Trump stimulus bucks, probably not going to happen. So do something for yourself. Go get my course, 90% off. You'll find it in the first link. Type in code 21. If you can't find the first link of this video, you need to go and watch a YouTube video tutorial on how to use YouTube. And you would probably hate the course because it's going to force you to click a button repeatedly and make some money. All right. So with that, we are out of here. Thanks for watching. See you in the next update.